I've made quite a few videos about living in LA, but for the past several months, I started to feel like it wasn't the best place for me anymore. And I actually decided to put my stuff in storage and leave for a while. Today, I'm going to explain why, because this was a really hard decision to make. In a lot of ways, I really love LA, but I felt like after 7 years, I needed a break and to see what else is out here. So I've lived in California for 7 years, and I'm not one of those haters. I actually love California. When I was younger, I always wanted to move here, and I thought I would stay here forever. It was exactly what I wanted at that time. I think that COVID has made a lot of people rethink where they live, and while a lot of things are back open in LA, it still doesn't feel totally the same. So the first reason that really kicked off me wanting to leave was the rent prices in LA. If you guys saw my last video, you know that rent prices went up more than I've ever seen them before, and it really made me feel like it wasn't worth it. The way that things lined up with my lease being up and having to find a new spot, it just didn't feel right to stay. I toured a number of places and I was not excited about any of them. And then one day I also looked at my calendar before COVID and I realized I really wasn't even in LA that much to begin with. I was always traveling, so to be paying rent in LA just didn't even really make a lot of sense. At that rate, I figured I might as well just live elsewhere and visit LA from time to time. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the places I toured were nice and I'm sure I would have liked them, but I wasn't excited to pay even more than you typically would to kind of do the same thing I had done the years before. I also really did not like my last living situation very much, and I think that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth in general for the city. Another reason I want to leave LA is I felt like the community I had there was kind of dwindling. It's definitely one of those places most people don't stay forever. It's super normal for people to be coming in and out, and COVID kind of expedited that process of people leaving. Some of this was due to COVID. Some of my friends moved home, and I will say those friends that moved home honestly all seemed happier and glad that they did. I felt like all of my friends in LA were scattered across the city, and it's just hard to see people. You have to drive, you have to park. There's a culture of flakiness. It's just, you know, you'll make plans with someone a week in advance and then both of you might flake. It just is, I don't know. It's not always like that, but I feel like it can be like that. A big part of this is because it's just a sprawling city. It's just such an effort to go see people and way more time consuming just to get there. There's definitely a stereotype that people can be more self-centered and superficial in LA, and I found that to be true. Maybe it's because I was just doing YouTube and kind of in that world, so there are more of those people. I did meet people too who were just teachers and had totally normal jobs and grew up there. But I think per capita, there's just more people that are, I guess, fake. Who you're around, you kind of start to become, and I felt like I was starting to become a little bit like that, and I really didn't like it. So I felt like it wasn't really the right fit anymore in that way. And I don't want to totally generalize because there are a lot of really cool people there too. You can find great people anywhere, honestly, but a lot of the people I was meeting recently, I just started to feel like I didn't vibe with, and that was definitely a factor in wanting to check out a new city. I also wanted to see what it was like living in an actual city. LA is so big, it feels like a bunch of different neighborhoods. It doesn't feel like that actual city life. You have to drive everywhere. There really is no good public transportation system. They do have a busing system and a metro line, but it's just not that good. It's not as extensive as it is in a lot of major cities. And there was something about being in the car all the time that was making me so tired. I would put all this effort into getting somewhere but be exhausted by the time I got there. I don't know if this is just me, but something about the hum of the car and the sun beating down on you and like the stress of all the crazy LA drivers just kind of like wore me down. I really liked how my last neighborhood there was pretty walkable, and I realized I just love walking. But no matter where you live in LA, even if it is a pretty walkable neighborhood, you'll always find yourself having to drive across town for one reason or another. And I've only been here 5 days, but I love how you can just walk everywhere, jump on the subway. I feel more awake because I'm constantly moving my body and being more active throughout the day rather than sitting in my car all day. The neighborhood that I lived in, I did not feel comfortable walking around in at night, but here I actually do because there are people out and about all the time. And also, no one cares if you're filming. I also found myself being less inspired to shoot videos there. Felt like I'd overused all the locations in LA and I felt kind of burned out. Like I had shot, I felt like everything I wanted to shoot there. I felt like I was making the same kinds of videos and I don't know, I was kind of like not sure what to make next. Overall, I was just not as inspired shooting videos there. And in LA, you honestly have to work harder to get a shot that looks cool. I found that in the past, if I go on a really long trip or switch up my location, I come back feeling really excited again. And actually a lot of parts of LA are really ugly and not photogenic looking. Like you really gotta work harder to get a cool looking shot. And I thought it would be fun to go somewhere where almost every shot looks amazing. Like, are you kidding me? How could you not be inspired and want to make videos here? It's the most photogenic city in America. Everyone knows it. It just like, it's not hard to get a really cool looking shot here. So it makes it really fun and kind of refreshing to have a new place like New York to record videos. I guess I just wasn't as excited about making videos there as I was about the idea of going somewhere new, exploring it, and making a bunch of videos about a whole new place. So you're probably wondering what I'm doing, where I'm going, and I'm sure you've gathered at this point I'm not in LA making this video. So I decided to put my stuff in storage and just get Airbnbs in different cities for about 4 months. So I was in Los Angeles for 7 years. That's a long time, I think, to be anywhere, especially I moved there right after high school. It could have been any city, and after that long, after COVID and everything, the vibe of the city has kind of changed. I've noticed a lot of people are moving around post-COVID. A lot of the cities are just not the same as we're used to. I really think I would have done the same thing if I spent the last 7 years in New York. I probably would have gone to LA. So I first decided to get an Airbnb here in New York City for the month and test it out and see how I like it. It's definitely not the most luxurious place, but it's still really fun to be here. I think COVID made everyone kind of move around a little bit, so I'm not exactly sure where I'm gonna end up, but I kind of have a feeling it's gonna be here. I also have always wanted to spend either a fall or a spring in New York because those are the best times to go, like the best weather. I've always wanted to do that, and I figured this was really the best time to make that happen. I still think LA is an awesome city, amazing weather, so much to do. Maybe this will just be a break from LA, or maybe this is me saying goodbye forever. I'm not really sure yet, but I feel good about what I'm doing now. So far, I'm really happy I decided to do this while I have the chance to, and I don't really miss LA. Also, the weather has been incredible, and we'll see how I feel about it in a month. We'll see. And major shout out to Clutter for helping me store my stuff. Clutter is a moving and storage company, so they picked up my stuff, are storing it in a warehouse, and I can even see all my stuff on this app. So if you want to see more of how my move went, I'll have the vlog linked down below. They made it so easy to pick it up and move it all there. So I committed to 4 months of storing my stuff, but I think come March, I'll want to actually stop being a nomad and find a place to live. But for the month of October, the whole month, I will be in New York. I'm kind of testing it out. I've always thought it would be cool to live here. Stay tuned to see where I end up, but in the meantime, I will be making videos in New York and probably other cities as well. I'm interested to see in 4 months if I miss it and I want to go back, or if I don't care and am ready to be done with it. So that's a bit of the explanation of why I left. It definitely was not a spontaneous decision, but ultimately I felt like I wasn't growing that much in LA anymore, and it just felt like the right move to get out for now. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.